Hello, are you out there? I'm Mark with Homebrew Fever Dreams. Is this thing on? Yeah, okay. We've got the Forgotten Primordial Warlock Patron. This is a Warlock subclass coming to us from Queen of Oblivion. So just to start off with here, if you're welcome to post your own homebrew, whatever, for D&D or anything. Classes, species, subclasses, spells, items. Throw it up here. Hopefully, if I have time, I'll make a video for you. But in this is fine. Queen of Oblivion here, it's like text pasted right into the subreddit. You can see, though, they did headers, bold, bullet points. I just say, this is nice. Make sure you're spacing, proofread, that kind of thing. It's fine. Gimme Dice did something in the home brewery that looks like official with art and like the cool background paper. It looks like you could publish it. That's super awesome. Gimme Dice is always doing awesome stuff on the subreddit here, but it doesn't have to be that polished. It doesn't even have to be this polished. Anything you have, you're welcome to post. Bear in mind that we want to look for balance in general. Sean from YouTube, who I think is Crunkers on the subreddit here. I know we all have like different handles, but Sean and I were talking over on the YouTube comments. He came up with 4 items that we should think about when we're looking at homebrew in general. Number 1 was balance. And all that means is that we don't ever want to make a class or item or spell that is so good that it pushes down the viability or the fun of other classes at the table. That's why that matters. Now, if you want to make some sort of superhero class or someone you'd imagined, you imagined up or you want to be or you want to write a story about that's like just like the main character, by all means you can do that. You can make a way OP item or class, but make a little comment if you post it and say, hey, this is way OP, but it's just my idea. That's cool then. I'm totally good with that. But if you don't do that, then I'm going to try and critique it to its balance level. Is it too weak? Is it just right? Is it too powerful? So, yeah. And then Sean also talked about theme. So balance theme, meaning does it have a flavor? Is it all over the place, like going in every direction? Or is it like, the look, the smell, the feel of this class is really evocative? So theme, I think, really matters, especially when you're coming up with, like, say, subclasses. Yeah, that matters a lot. Fun was his 3rd item, which, yeah, of course. Does this seem like it would be fun and awesome to play? And he had a 4th thing. Oh, geez. I can't think of it now. I'm sure it was so important. Balance, theme, fun. Oh, ease of understanding. Yeah. I'm glad I remembered that. So the final thing is, are you putting in rules or abilities that are kludgy, as I call them? Meaning like, just hard to understand, hard to read, where you're calculating stuff from this guy and that guy, and yeah. Listen, if it clicks in your mind the first time you read it, that's ultimately what you want. Imagine you're going to publish this. You don't want people like going through mental gymnastics trying to understand what it means, and when you're referencing, fails the check, and it's like what the hero fails the check, the target fails. You didn't really specify, so I'm not sure who failed by more. Things like that. Okay. Let's continue. That's long enough. So first, as introduction, this came from the idea that we should really have an elemental primordial-based warlock patron, such as the Prince of Elemental Evil. This was made in coordination with my friend, the Bearded Russian, here on the subreddits, I guess. So the Queen of Oblivion and the Bearded Russian came up with this together. He or they deserves credit for helping me refine the idea and make it work better for 5e. I'm quite happy with how it turned out as sort of an unarmed combat-based warlock. Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, like a punchy warlock. Yeah, literally. And I hope you all like it. We would both love input. If it goes well, I have more subclasses I can submit. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go wrong. You can submit more. I do ask 1 a week, just so that as stuff comes in, I can try and keep up with it. So yeah, don't overwhelm the the queue there. But I see here just a random Primordial patron table. I'm sure if you work out with your DM, you could choose one specifically, but otherwise, yeah, just roll randomly if you want to see what you get. You've got fire is the primordial damage type for the subclass is fire. Water would be bludgeoning damage, I guess, meaning like it's just like wave of water hitting you. Earth will be acid based. Ice is cold based. Okay, is that how it works? Yeah, ice cold. Yeah, because you wouldn't have a cold primordial. You would have an ice primordial. Yes, sorry. Doi. Air is thunder and storm is lightning. That's okay. It's not all the damage types, but it's like saying there's not a necrotic primordial, right? There's not a poison primordial. I could almost see poison being water, but poison's super common, so that might be OP. That might be why OP and their partner created it this way, is to not take something that's so common. Although bludgeoning, I guess there's 3 common damage types, so yeah. They're probably going for a balanced feel. I'm sure fire is very common, so yeah. But yeah, I could see water potentially being poison. I know not all poisons are liquids, but yeah, whatever. But yeah, bludgeoning's fine. Okay. So yeah, you can roll or potentially choose if your DM gives you the okay. So Wrath of the Primal. Starting at first level, your patrons might manifest in you. You have resistance to your patron's preferred damage type. I like that. I like that it's not in immunity. I mean, especially at level 1, that would be super powerful. But yeah, resistance, okay. And it's only against 1 damage type. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a very situational. It's not going to happen all the time, but some of the time it'll be nice to be like, yeah, resistance, baby. Additionally, as long as you are not wearing heavy armor or wielding a weapon, you gain a special natural weapon, which you can use to make unarmed strikes. Okay, so like a fire mace or, yeah, ice axe, something like that. And you can't have a normal weapon of any sort in your hands. So you can't have an actual axe. You just get your primordial axe. And not heavy armor, but you can wear light or medium. I'm not sure why the heavy armor has anything to do with the natural weapon. Being able to wield the natural weapon. But, okay. Do warlocks never gain access to heavy armor? Just, I mean, I don't imagine they would. I didn't know they had access to medium armor, though, to be honest. But let's keep going. This natural weapon uses your charisma modifier for attacks and damage roll and deals 1d6 of your patron's damage type instead of the normal damage for an unarmed strike. Wait, so it's not manifesting as a weapon. You're saying like your fist glows with like cold energy or water. Like unarmed striking, like knees, this, that. Like every time you make a blow, your element comes through your body. So it's not an ice axe per se. Okay, but the damage type, it's a d6 of whatever your damage type is. Okay, yeah, that's cool. If you take the attack action on your turn and attack only with a natural weapon granted by this feature, you may make another attack with it as a bonus action. Okay. Okay, so you can't ever cast a spell in bonus action attack. You have to do like attack. So action, bonus action. Like a monk in that sense, yeah. And that's so if you want to use the caster thing, I like that. I like that it's delineated. Just like, yeah, you're either going to cast a spell or you're going to go martial, but then you got to go all martial to get that bonus action. But it is nice damage output to start with. I would guess those attacks count as magical. I mean, they're innately magical. So I guess in this sense, that's pretty strong at level 1. But, I mean, to be fair, all the caster types have cantrips that are magical, that overcome, magic resistances. So, yeah, any level 1 sorcerer or druid or cleric can cast a cantrip away. And so that's fair. I think that's fair enough. Okay. This natural weapon qualifies as a melee weapon for purposes of pacts, invocations, and other warlock abilities. So yeah, if you don't know the warlock class, then read up on that to understand the implications of that. But it's just saying, yeah, your natural fists of fire meet the requirements for your pacts, your invocations, your other warlock abilities. Okay. Elemental Mantle. Starting at level 6, you're able to channel the power of your patron into yourself in order to become more potent and durable in combat. As a bonus action, you may invoke this ability to clad yourself in Elemental Mantle, granting you the following benefits for 1 minute, which is like plenty enough for pretty much any combat. I mean, most combats. Going to last less than a minute, which would be 10 rounds. Yeah. Okay. Your AC is equal to 13 plus your Charisma modifier. Is that regardless of your armor? Or right? Because you're saying you can wear light or medium armor. What if it's your... I don't want to overdo the AC. I mean, 13 plus Charisma is going to get you about 16 to start with to roughly 18, maybe 19. No, you're not going to go above plus 5. So 16 to 18 is what you're looking at for AC. I guess it's like overwhelming the normal armor protection. Because obviously when you're not in the Elemental Mantle, whatever armor you have, based off your dex, leather plus you 2 for dex or 1 for dex, that's your AC normally. Yeah, I guess if you guys have done the calculations to make sure that this AC wouldn't be a lower AC in any case, or I could see it being the base armor, replace the dex modifier with Charisma modifier with no upper limit, right? So say you had AC 12 plus up to 3 in your dex, but your warlock's not usually have a plus 3. They're not a rogue, so they would normally be at 15. It's like saying no. When you have the Elemental Mantle, lose whatever the dex is and add your Charisma modifier up to whatever it is, even to a plus 5. So you like that. Okay, I guess I'm breaking my own rule about being overly complicated. I guess easy to understand, but yeah, just do the calculations. I'm curious as to whether or not this would, in some cases, give you less armor. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, you gain temporary hit points equal to your warlock level, which starting at 6 would be plus 6. Yeah, that's 6 to 20. It's a hit or 2 in a fight, so that's not bad. Your special natural weapon damage dice increase to 1d8. I like that. Yeah, you got to up that damage a touch. Very nice, but not too much. And when you take the attack action on your turn, you may attack twice instead of once if both attacks are with the special natural weapon. Okay, so you get 2 standard attacks, and then you can still do that bonus action attack, so up to 3 blows. Yeah, that's more or less on lines with what a monk could do, I think, right? So they get their second attack at level 5, I think. Once you've invoked this ability a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, you cannot do so again until you complete a long rest. There you go. Yeah, you can't use the Elemental Mantle all the time. So at this point, it would be 3 times a day, up to 5 long rests. 3 to 5 times on a long rest, which should cover most of your fights. Yeah, okay. Strength of a Titan. Starting at 10th level, your connection with your patron allows you to contain more of their power. Whenever you deal your patron's preferred damage type, it ignores resistance and treats immunity as resistance. Okay, I like that. Your patron is allowing you to break down the resistance and immunity other creatures might have to your patron's given type. So even a red dragon, you're like, no, man, my patron's a fire primordial, and it can even debuff a red dragon's fire resistance. Yeah. Or immunity. I can't remember, but you get my point. That's cool. That is cool. Again, it's not overpowered because it's just one category. So if you're gunning, like you might get hired in literally because your patron meets the element in question. You're going up to the 10 towns, right? to go face off. Well, you happen to be cold type primordial or an ice type Primordial who does cold damage and can break down those resistances. That's cool. Additionally, as long as your elemental mantle, see above, your elemental mantle is active, anytime you make a saving throw, you roll an additional 1d4 and add it to the total. Oh, that is helpful. Not, but that's a nice measured amount. A d4, it's kind of like bless, right? And that's against any save. And once per turn, when you deal your patron's preferred damage type, you deal additional damage equal to your Warlock level to a single target of that damage. Oof. Once per turn while the elemental mantle is active? Okay. Your Warlock level. Oh. Fudge. That seems like it is a lot. I mean, listen, at level 20, a plus 20. Yeah, shit, even at level 20, a plus 20 to each attack is a lot, isn't it? Now, granted, it's not every blow, so it's not like you have a plus 20 sword, right? And every time you attack. It's saying, while your elemental mantle is active, but for up to 10 rounds of combat, you're going to make your 10th level, so you're going to make a d8 attack plus your charisma. Are you charisma based? I think this is charisma based. Say it is. If not, you should specify that, by the way. Charisma modifier, yeah. So d8 here plus your charisma modifier plus your level, which even at 10 would be a 10. One massive attack and then 2 lesser attacks, potentially, for action attack, second action attack, bonus action attack. It's a lot of damage output. I'm almost wondering if it shouldn't just be a flat extra d8. I don't know, are there other subclasses that use that level add-on feature so it scales with you with level? It's powerful. Oof. Okay. I guess I don't honestly know enough about what they're doing with subclasses these days. It seems like a lot. Let's move on, though. It's not all the time, and it is only once per turn. But yeah, I mean it's a huge damage output, huge damage burst in that moment. Similar to like a paladin's smite, 2d8. But I guess it's guaranteed because it's your Warlock level. It's a flat, right? You're not rolling for it. Sometimes high, sometimes low. It's just always going to be 10 or 14 or 20. Here's the final part. This is not that long. The Titan's Wrath. Starting at 14th level, the full power of your Primordial Patron is beginning to flow through you. As long as your Elemental Mantle is active, you have immunity to your patron's preferred damage type. I think that's reasonable at 14th level. Yes, and it's tied again to the Elemental Mantle, so it's not on all the time. Yeah, I think immunity is appropriate at 14th level. Additionally, once per turn, while under the effects of your Elemental Mantle, you can force one target who takes damage of your patron's preferred type to make a Charisma saving throw. If they fail, then anytime they take damage of your patron's preferred type before the start of your next turn, the amount of damage they take increases by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay. So this subclass is all tied around the Elemental Mantle. It is the Elemental Mantle subclass, which is okay. It's putting all the eggs in one basket, though. It's kind of like you're not a subclass. You almost have nothing unless that Elemental Mantle is up, which you're gonna have 3 to 5 times per long rest. So yeah, I mean that'll cover most your bases. But it's like a one trick pony. I mean, I'm not trying to be insulting, but yeah, it is all through the Elemental Mantle. So when that's popped, when you are emanating your primordial element, you're all on. And when it's not there, you're just you're like a caster. You're just like a guy in robes, shooting some cantrips and some spells around. That's okay. So let's break this down though. Once per turn. But again, every turn of the combat, essentially, you can force one target who takes damage from your patron's type to make a charisma saving throw. And this is on your turn, or should this be a reaction? Maybe a little clarity on that. Once per turn, once per your turn, you can force a target who takes damage from your patron's preferred type to make a charisma saving throw. But damage from anyone, though. Sorry, I'm working through this here. The way this is written, any of your party or even a pool of lava, or the guy stumbles into the bonfire, takes fire damage, gets out of the bonfire. He took 1d6 fire damage. You're like, haha, you took fire damage, homie. Now I'm going to force you to make a charisma saving throw. That's why I think it should be a reaction, is so that as soon as you, the player, see that creature take the damage of the given type, whether it's coming from the natural from the environment or from one of your players, your teammates, you can make them make that charisma saving throw. I also like that because then it doesn't burn your action on your turn, right? You're burning your reaction to force them to make that charisma throw. You still get your action. I actually think that's better. I think it's smoother because you're able to say to the DM right in the moment, say, "Oh, he took fire damage. I'm going to force the reaction right now. I want to make this Titan's Wrath check. Oh, okay. Charisma roll. Did it work or not?" Then, if they fail, anytime they take damage of your patron's type, they will take extra damage in the amount of your proficiency bonus, which at this point would be +4. And that's cool because that's not too much, but if you are coordinated with your teammates, if you're acid type and you're with a dragonborn, and you guys have coordinated that when you kind of like made the characters initially, you're like, yeah, let's do this. Or you fire, and you have a couple people, and as you guys have leveled up to 14, you've been like, yeah, take a fire spell, get a fire weapon or something, and you guys can dogpile on. So you might be able to get 2 or 3 sources to damage that creature in that turn, and it'll kind of re-up it over and over, because even at the end, until the start of your next turn, that'll debuff the Titan's Wrath, but one of your other players is going to hit them again, and then you, at that point, can re-up it as that reaction. You keep it going over and over. This really only works very well if you've worked this out with your group, and it's kind of like a little group buff almost. I mean, listen, it's fine if it's just like +4, +4, +4 as you're getting your 3 licks in on the enemy. Hey, that's good damage too. There's nothing wrong with that. But it really could magnify if you're getting an extra 1 or 2 hits from the other people in your group. So listen, I think this is a great subclass. It's short. It's sweet. I don't think it's overpowered. I was questioning here the Titan strength, this damage from the Warlock level, but ultimately, I don't think you overpowered it anywhere else. So I think that's okay. I think you kind of made a very even and level subclass where you gave it 1 solid plus, which is that damage bonus once per turn. But you've gate kept all those abilities behind the elemental mantle, meaning that, listen, they're not always on. It is a limited resource. It's abundantly available, but it's not all the time. So I think this class is really well balanced. I think the theme is almost there. I think all the abilities really play towards the elemental fighter, in the primordial elements powers put forward. But I think you should flower this up with a little bit of a paragraph at the top, kind of doing a flowery verbal description. I know some people aren't into the creative writing, but you're evoking something very much. I'm thinking like, Airbender stuff, right? Avatar. But yeah, give us a little flowery description at the top of that. I mean, you've kept it short and sweet anyway, but right up here at the top, before you do your primordial patrons option, give a description paragraph or 2 evoking what the subclass is and what it is to have a pact with an elemental patron. And I think that'll get you nailed on target with the theme. Fun, yes. I think the fun is all there. Absolutely. I love the versatility of being able to choose from a variety of primordial patrons. And the final one is clarity. Pretty clear. I think there was one. Wait, I think I made it more complex than some of the things I described. To be honest, I think I was like, do this and this and. But yeah, I think maybe tighten up Titan's Wrath a little bit. It's clear enough. I just think it could be improved by specifying reaction and really making sure that how it can work, that anyone in the party can deal that extra damage from the proficiency bonus. So clarity, yeah, you're pretty clear. It is pretty clear. I didn't struggle with that too much at all. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for sharing. That was a long one. Wow. Okay. It's amazing even when they're short, they're pretty long. But I hope you guys like this. I hope you guys like getting into the crunchy granola and thinking about how the mechanics of the game work, how they could work, what you might do in a role play situation with your group. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So thank you for sharing. If you watched, thank you so much. Take care.